Are you ready, folks? Welcome back to Poplar Preparedness, and that's the question I'm going to be asking here. I know a lot of you see the hard times coming. It's about to get real messy, and I know most of you have been working your tails off, getting more prepared, getting more self-sufficient, getting things squared away. There's a lot of projects I'm working on right now here around this non-homestead. In fact, you can't see it, but right behind the camera is, let's just say, quite a few tubs of stuff stocked up. And then right behind my door back here is some more. But we're all getting ready in different ways, and hopefully you have your strategy of what you're going to do, how you're going to get through hard times, whether the power goes out, whether you have to do something crazy in order to get access to purchase food, or whether it's just rationing because of a civil strife or civil war or a world war or something like that, or if things just become unavailable and you just want to make sure that your family's kind of taken care of. Lots of different scenarios, lots of different things that could happen. A hurricane could come through and whack you upside the head and take down power lines throughout your state and nail the transformers, which there are no replacements for. And when they go to repair those transformers, they may not be able to bring the power back on for quite a bit because there's no transformers to replace them with. Not to mention there are shortages of wire, and so we got lots of issues out there that could become crisis level events. Jackson, Mississippi, of course, is suffering a SHTF situation right now with no water. Do you have water stored up? Do you have a rainwater catchment system? Do you have a way that you can get water if you need it? These are questions that you need to kind of be thinking through and answering, and most of you have already. But I think that one of those things that's interesting is that none of us ever feel ready, right? When you start going, man, I have enough water for, I have enough water stockpiled for, a couple weeks, and then you're just there like, but what happens if more people come? What if it goes on for more than a couple weeks? Oh, man, I'm not ready anymore. For me, I have plans for that, but it's just kind of like your first order plans. Hopefully they'll work, but then when you get into your second and third order plans, that becomes a little more concerning because hopefully they will work. But the question is for you is, how prepared do you feel? I mean, are you at the place where you're like, I got it all together, I got it happening? And some of you who have been prepping or preparing for decades for becoming off-grid, and maybe you're already living in a self-sufficient homesteading kind of experience, and if you are, we all look at you with a little bit of envy, but it is what it is, and you probably realize that you're still dependent upon the system for tools and equipment, and and you'd like to be maybe more self-sufficient that way. But so I think that's one of the interesting things with our community is that none of us ever truly feel prepared because it always could be a little bit worse than what we planned for. Do what you can out there, but as you walk through the things, I want you also to look back a year, look back 2 years or 5 years ago, and think through where you were then. How self-sufficient, how ready and prepped were you then? What was your long-term food storage looking like then? What was your water situation then? I mean, are you more prepared now than you were last year and 2 years ago and 5 years ago? And I think most of us who have been taking anything seriously, and most of the people on this channel, would say a resounding absolutely that you're more prepared than you were before. Hopefully you've been taking those steps. Now, I know some of you watching are either living in an apartment or living in a very small home where you don't have much space to work with, and hopefully you've been working on your plans, and if that means connecting with people who have room outside town or somewhere that's a little more stable, or whether that's reconnecting with your family members and even potentially looking at what it would look like to get them prepared so that they would be able to help you if you have to go out to them. And that's all very difficult stuff to do. And sometimes I like to point out that I think relationships are one of the biggest biggest overlooked preps ever. Your relationships with people in your community and outside your community are vital. Do you have friends and family or whatever outside your immediate area that if something catastrophic were to happen in your area that you could go to someone else's home? A lot of us have a lot of preps around the house, and so we don't like the idea of having to bug out. But certain situations you need to bug out. You know, if there's a conflict and you're becoming close to the front lines, you need to bug out. Perhaps it's a natural disaster that hits your area and you need to bug out for a little while to kind of recoup and come back. Or maybe a lot of your preps have been destroyed, whether it's flooding or a fire. If a fire happens, you need to relocate, right? If your house burns down, you can't stay there anymore. All these thoughts, you know, where are your relationships? Because that's a big question. You know, who have you been developing those relationships with? And that's not to say you should just develop relationships with people that you can use. That's a pretty horrible way of putting it. But you should be building intentional relationships with people that might be able to help you and your family out. And hopefully you will be able to help their family if needed as well. So how do you develop those relationships? One of the big things I always keep pointing out is churches, right? You can find a lot of people at churches to connect with. If you can't find other places to connect with people, shooting ranges can also be sportsman clubs, can be a great place to meet people. Coin shops can, people tend to be a little cagey at coin shops, but you can at least kind of see who might be inclined along the same ways. You know, gun shows, things like that can connect you with people of like mind, even some political groups or whatever, you know, like if you kind of help out with a political campaign or something like that, you might be able to connect with some people that are kind of like-minded. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of connect with people. I think churches are the best way to connect because that's when you go through a very stressful situation like SHTF, you're going to need to come closer to God than you ever have before, and you're going to want to be surrounded by people who are also asking the same questions that you are. But if that's not where you are, that's why I threw out some of those other options for you too. So lots of different things to think about out there. Let me know in your comments down below what your thoughts are. You can always email me at poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. If you go down to the description down below and also down to the pinned comment, you can find a way to sign up for my newsletter. If you sign up for my newsletter, it will make you eligible for a drawing for the wound care bucket from Refuge Medical. That will be given out on the 15th of September. I'll do the drawing on the 15th of September. And if you go over to Refuge Medical, they also are giving away wound care buckets if you make a purchase of $400 or more. So it's like a $170 bucket in addition to some pretty good prices on a lot of products. And I'm not saying all of their products are the cheapest out there, but I'd say that you can hunt for some bargains over there on their website. I found a number of them. So, you know, watch your prices, do some comparative shopping, and find some good deals for yourself. But getting more prepared on the medical side is maybe perhaps the second most overlooked prep out there, is having enough medical supplies. Because wound care bucket is going to help you get through maybe 1 or 2 major wounds that you might have to treat. You're going to use up a lot of bandages. That's just a simple fact of the matter. All right, folks, if you like this video, you might want to check out this video here. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar out.